You're listening to the Empowered Divorce Podcast, where you practice being the chooser in your life again, one day at a time. Thanks for joining me. Hello, my amazing, beautiful listeners. Welcome and thank you for joining me. If you are listening to this episode first thing in the morning, we have a big day today. First of all, the live free Q&A session is today. As last week was New Year's, it was not held. Usually it's the first Thursday of every month, but I am holding it today, the 8th. So if you're listening actually on the 8th, then join me at 2 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock Mountain Time. If you have not registered for that, just go to amiewoolsey.com, click on resources, free registration, free hour with me. And if you are listening to this before 6 p.m. Central Time today on Thursday, I think that's when this episode's going to go out, then you still can join me tonight for the Dating Within workshop. 3 nights with me, learning more and talking about you. Women who take this feel hope again, and they have a lot more clarity in what they want, the next steps that they take in their healing. Dating after betrayal is so hard. It is so hard because we are made for connection. As long as you are human, you are going to desire it. Sometimes we need to hold off and connect more with our inner self. And sometimes we swing way far on the other side of the pendulum for safety, which makes so much sense. And we avoid connection. We avoid vulnerability after betrayal. This will ultimately lead to potential unhealthy connections when you do connect, because you're going to want to, because you're human. We talk about all of this and so much more. You have the opportunity when joining live to ask me questions, but if you can only make a couple nights, that's why they're recorded. Really, you have like 6+ hours with me, an incredible workbook. You don't want to miss it. One of the hardest things, at least for me, when I thought about dating again, was the worry that I wouldn't know the difference between my intuition and trauma fears, because I thought I was following my intuition before, and look where it got me. So I was questioning all of it. And I know a lot of my clients will say the same thing. I don't trust myself. I thought I did. I thought I trusted. I thought I knew. I missed it. And so we can very easily and quickly believe that something is wrong with our gut, wrong with our intuition. Learning to trust ourselves again is key to so much of our post-traumatic growth. And living in the threat is normal when you've lived through betrayal. And that threat, unfortunately, like your nervous system has that memory forever. But I promise, it does not have to run your life forever. So if it feels like it's running your life right now, I get it, makes sense. It doesn't have to be that way. I hear a lot of people relinquish that, this is just how it is, and I'm going to have to live with it forever. What we're really doing is limiting ourselves. We're putting ourselves back in that victim state. In all reality, limiting our potential, limiting our growth, limiting what we really are capable of. And we are capable of so much more our trauma wants us to believe. But it's hard to believe that when the things that never triggered you before are now triggering. That wear and tear on your nervous system can reduce your ability to stay in your window of tolerance. So trusting yourself is really, really hard in this space. There's just a huge web around this. Untangling it is not simple. So I'm offering ideas here, but I've also shared a lot of episodes on this with different tools and concepts, because this is a tangled web that needs to be unweaved. Does that make sense? So I just want to remind you that what I offer today is not going to be like the capital THE thing. It's one part of a lot of things that we practice. You hear me say that word all the time. It is a practice. Life is a practice. Healing is a practice. Growth, mindset, and becoming as a human is a practice. I say there's no arrival. One of the most freeing things I could do for myself was release that idea that there is some sort of arrival place to be at. If you're anything like the women I work with, you probably know what it feels like to walk into a room and your body reacts before your brain even knows what's happening. Like your jaw tightens, your chest starts to buzz, or your stomach drops, and you're wondering, is this my intuition telling me that something is off? Or am I overreacting? Is this my trigger? Is this my trauma? Is this because of what happened to me? Then everyone's telling you, trust your gut, right? Just trust your gut. But when your nervous system has lived through betrayal and gaslighting and fear, your gut has been through a lot. Today, I just want to talk about something just really practical, and that's just how do you tell the difference? How do you tell the difference between that true inner no and the trauma alarm that's still healing? And first and foremost, when this happens and when we're still a little bit confused around it, we need to release any shame or self judgment and drop into that beautiful self compassion and awareness, because of course it's going to feel really confusing. Your body will react and has reacted before your thinking brain does. That's just biology. The deeper survival parts of the brain, especially the orienting and the shock systems that light up in milliseconds. Your body scans for safety way before your thinking brain comes online. That's why sometimes your body goes danger, danger, and your mind says, wait, what? Nothing even happened yet. So over time, especially with all that chronic relational trauma that you all have gone through, the system can get stuck on that high alert, like a smoke detector that goes off every time you boil water. Now, your body's not doing this because it's broken. It's not doing this because it's wrong. And that's what I mean earlier about giving yourself a lot of compassion and believing that your body is doing what it's supposed to do here. It learned, I didn't get a warning, so I have to live very, very ready. And this is what Bessel van der Kolk talks about in the Body Keeps the Scorebook. The trauma event might be over, but the tension is still going to live in your muscles. And even Frank Corrigan's work with deep brain reorienting, the shock in your body from that event is also going to be in the deep part of your brain and affect your muscles, your breath, and your posture. So if you feel like you react too fast or too big for this so said event or circumstance, your nervous system makes this make sense. Fear in the body is going to feel very fast, urgent, tight, braced, and that bracing and armoring, it's going to correlate to the shock of the event that's still stuck in your body. It's going to feel very all or nothing, flooded, very confused. And I'll say sometimes fear even feels the opposite. You might respond shut down or numb or frozen. But it usually comes with a story like, this always happens, or see, I can't trust anyone, or see, this means I'm not enough or healed enough, whatever belief you want to attach to that. And fear is going to become chronic when the raw body sensations and the fearful story fuse together. Part of healing is we have to learn how to gently separate the two. So the body can settle and the story that's attached to that can soften or even change. When we have truth in the body, it's going to feel really different. Truth in the body is often quieter, grounded. It's not so urgent. It might be attached to thoughts like, you know what? I really don't want this. This doesn't feel right. Or I need space. You still might feel afraid, but you aren't spinning, right? You can still breathe. There can still be two truths at once. I'm scared and I still know what I need here. That's the steady clarity, even with fear present, and a sign that you're connected more to yourself instead of reacting from that old alarm. Intuition is very real, and it's also shaped by our past experiences. So strong feeling doesn't automatically equal truth. And I think that's really important to remember. So anxious attachment can be really, really heightened with betrayal. And when I was working through this, I noticed something as simple as when I'd text my friend and then not hear back from her for a few days. So like 48 hours later, I haven't heard back. And all of a sudden my chest would tighten, my jaw would clench, and that story would show up. Oh my gosh, she's mad at me. Or what did I do? Did I say something wrong? I would even go back and reread my message or listen to my Marco. Did I say something? Did I say something that I didn't mean? And that fear feels very real in my body. It's very loud, it's immediate, it's very convincing. Then she'll message me. I can see everything's fine. She's not mad. She just missed my message or she got busy. So the feeling was real, but the meaning that my body attached to it wasn't. And that's what we have to learn how to practice parceling out. A strong feeling, yes, means you're having a very true experience, but a strong feeling doesn't always have a true interpretation. While we're trying to figuring this out and parceling it out, you might say something like, okay, I feel really scared or really terrified right now. And as I look around, I'm in my house and I am safe in my house right now. Now, this isn't minimizing your fear, but it's also orienting your nervous system to the present moment. When I do my somatic sessions with clients, I start with a very simple exercise called the where self, where we orient to where they are in their space, in their body, in the here and now. It's such an important part of the deep brain reorienting sequence that Frank Corrigan talks about. And it's especially important because anxiety and unresolved trauma are overlapping. So where anxiety can be more constant, trauma reactions are usually triggered. So a smell, a tone, a certain look, and then boom, your body remembers. So a great self-check here is this about now, like right now, or is this echoing something that's old? And we don't have judgment and we just stay curious. One really important part here that I think just doesn't get talked about enough, or we don't mention it, at least I feel like is really important, is that you're going to get it wrong sometimes. Sometimes you'll think it's fear and later realize that it's true. Sometimes you'll think it's intuition and realize that trauma was driving the car. It doesn't mean that you're not healing or that you failed. This is how we recalibrate. If chaos used to be normal in your nervous system, then calm is going to feel very suspicious. I know I've mentioned this so many times before. Like when I got into a relationship with Scott, like when we were actually, deep in a relationship and he showed up consistently safe. It took a couple of years, y'all, it really did take a couple years for my system to recalibrate. It was always still questioning. Now, because he's consistent and not hiding, my body now over almost 8 years has had time to recalibrate. It's not triggered. I don't have to question anymore. But there's a very real reality to this that takes your body some time. That's why I said in the beginning, there is no really quick fix, one and done to this. And honestly, giving yourself so much grace and time to heal, which is why I will say to those that are wanting to date again and in my workshop, I flat out say a lot of your healing will be in a relationship. We're made for connection. We're bred for connection. And there's a lot of triggers that we don't know are going to happen or we can't really work through outside of a relationship. And I know a lot of you that might not be in that space right now. That doesn't mean you need to run and jump into a relationship. But for example, I'll have clients that have stayed very far away from any man and from any relationship, and they feel really good. They've done a lot of work. They've worked through some of the triggers. They have recalibrated in many beautiful, important ways. And then say they'll feel really great, right? And they'll lean back into dating, and then they get triggered. They have something show up, and then they'll come to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, Amie, I guess I'm not ready. This happened. I got triggered, and it threw me off, and I had a panic attack, and I thought I was ready, but I guess I'm not." And I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on, time out. No, no, no. This is actually really good because it's in relationship. It's when we are with other people that it triggers that old wound that now we can see. We have to remember triggers are not like good, bad, right, or wrong. It's information. I really, really, really want to help you reframe your triggers. It is information that we need to look at. So I'll say to my client in that situation, like, what did that, like when he said that on the date, what was the trigger? What was it that he said that was triggering. And then we have to unpack that. We have to see the layers and what that might be tied to. The cool thing about dating from within is that when you are observant of yourself, when you're aware of it in this very compassionate curiosity way, you get to see the information, you get to learn, you get to see another layer to heal, which is why this idea of needing to be healed with a period at the end of it in order to date is so false. It is so not true. So not true because it doesn't work that way. Our nervous systems don't work that way. Triggers, trauma, it doesn't work that way. So, one of the really most important pieces of healing is in relationship. And it doesn't mean romantic relationship necessarily, right? But it's in relationship with people with boundaries that help us to see more of those layers, to see those triggers. Does that make sense? Again, going back to like getting in that relationship with Scott, being able to notice the trigger and respond by believing my body, right? Okay, I feel really triggered right now. I'm going to believe that something is off rather than what's wrong with me. I shouldn't be triggered. Something shouldn't be off. I'm going to listen to my body. That is my body giving me information. It's my body having a response. I'm going to listen and I'm going to believe that as I slow down, step a little bit back out of the situation, slow down, go, okay, what is my body telling me? My body is telling me that you might not have told me the whole truth. Okay. So then I bring it up. I said, you know what? I feel like you're holding back some information. I feel like you weren't being completely honest with me. And I give him an opportunity to respond. And then in his response, I get more information. I get clarity. That clarity and information that he's sharing lands in my body softly. It doesn't feel confusing. It feels slow, doesn't feel chaotic, doesn't feel confusing. That feels like truth because it's giving me a settling feeling. It's giving me a slow down feeling, clarity feeling, which helps me feel like, okay, that I can trust. So then I take a deep breath and I let my body know, okay, so it makes sense why, body, you responded that way because you thought he was lying, but really there was missing information. And the missing information wasn't being withheld on purpose. Okay. I can see the miscommunication in this situation. So then I let my body know we actually are safe in this moment, in this interaction, and in this relationship. Then at that point, I very clearly can differentiate that was my body responding to trauma. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that gives you like a real, like tangible example of how trying to parcel this out looks. And it's messy. But the beautiful part, and this is what I want those of you to know that, may be wondering, is healthy even possible? And can I even get into another relationship because I have all this damage and triggers? Yes, yes, you can. When you are with someone that is emotionally mature, when you are with someone that doesn't make your triggers mean something about them and get defensive. Like my husband did not get defensive. He didn't take it personally that I was asking him to clarify what he told me earlier. He didn't get defensive that I said, you know what? I feel like you're holding back. He wasn't like, why would you think that? And how dare you? Because he doesn't have anything to hide and he has emotional maturity. He was able to respond in a way that supported what I was needing in that moment, which helped heal, which helped heal my nervous system that isn't used to this. Now, in the first year of our marriage, it was a little more clunky, I will say. And those that do my dating workshop, when they get to do the life Q&A with Scott, we talk about that. It's not perfect, but it isn't harmful. It isn't dismissive. It isn't damaging. There is a really beautiful element of healing that happens in relationship. So those of you that are feeling like you're trying really hard to put yourself back together and get everything right and make sure you're healed, period, before you get into the relationship, I just I just want you to know that you're going to be shocked when, when you're triggered in a relationship. And what happens is sometimes my avoidant attachments will go, see, there aren't any safe people. See, everyone's a mess. See, men aren't safe. See this, see this. Then you go back on your island because, yeah, that's going to be safer. But if we really, really want to heal, we really want to have healthy relationships with ourselves and with people, it happens in relationship with ourselves and in relationship with others as we stay in relationship with ourselves. What I learned early in my life was that in order to be in a relationship with someone else, I have to abandon that relationship with myself. My needs get abandoned, my wants get abandoned, my voice, my body, all of that gets abandoned in order to be in a relationship with someone else. What's been hard and part of my work and my journey is learning how to stay in a relationship with myself, attached, connected, and make space for someone else, which means I'm going to have impact. There's going to be triggers. And then when you're coming from this type of betrayal, abuse, injury, yeah, it absolutely adds a complexity, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It doesn't mean you're broken. And it doesn't mean that you still don't have a chance at healthy relationships. So right now, if you're not in the space to date yet, if you're not in a space to be in romantic relationship, use the relationships that you do have around you to help you recalibrate rather than trying to avoid or run away or be alone on your island. It's not going to help you. Right now, name the body sensations, tightening in the chest, the stomach dropping, the jaw clenching, the shoulders to your ears. Name it. This is the sensation that's happening. And then ask yourself 2 questions. Does this level of alarm match what is actually happening right now in this present situation? And have I felt this exact sensation in past painful situations? If the alarm doesn't match the moment and the sensation is familiar, then you can just gently tell yourself, okay, this feels like old fear in a new moment. And then we orient back to the present. Feel your feet, look around, gently press your feet into the ground. Take an exhale. Notice the direction of the sun or the moon. Name 3 things, 3 colors that you can see. Then just ask yourself, if I trusted my deeper truth here, what would I choose? Even if fear is still loud. Because again, we're not trying to erase the fear. We're trying to learn to listen to what's underneath it. I just also want to mention if you're still around those people in your life, groups that are not safe and are not supporting your emotional stability to allow you the space to do what I'm offering here, then practicing is going to be really hard. If you're not creating and holding boundaries to create the space for yourself, then it's going to be really hard. And dare I say, impossible to really trust yourself when you're still getting caught in the web. And the other thing that is just really, really important is listening to your body and practice believing it, even if you're wrong, because you did have your gut instinct signal that something was off, but you were not given the information to what that was. That's the abuse part of betrayal. Your gut was working. So practice believing it. Paying attention to your gut is key. If you translate it as wrong, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It means that there's something that you picked up on, right? So going back to that example I gave you, right? I'm in an interaction with my husband and my body picked up on something, right? The truth is it did. He left out some information. Now in the whole big picture context of what was left out, it was okay. I can see why it was left out. But the truth is my body picked up on something. It was right. He left out some information. Now, the story that my brain made that was attached to the past fear, right, the past trauma made about that was wrong. That's the part that was wrong. But my gut, what it picked up on was right. Does that make sense? That's the parceling out. That's the slowing down. It takes time and patience with yourself. And when you find someone and people in your life that are patient with you to help you figure that out. It's really a beautiful healing thing. Surrounding yourself with people that are safe to do that, that are not going to get defensive and harm you, is so important. So important and key. And if they are not, if people in your life that you want to be that person to be available to do that aren't, you gotta shift them over. You cannot use them to recalibrate you. You have to find people in your life, even if it's your therapist or coach and they're the only person right now to do that. That's fine. You have to find at least one person to help calibrate you in that way. And if they aren't safe, they're not helping support that, then we can't use them to recalibrate. It's probably why you might be feeling stuck. Okay. If anything today, I hope it comes across that fear is not the enemy. Your anxiety isn't the enemy, and your trauma responses aren't the enemy. They are information, they are messengers. And betrayal is scrambling all of the settings that help you more quickly differentiate between, is this my intuition, my gut telling me something's wrong, or is this my trauma response? And your work is not to silence your body and shut it down and get frustrated and mad at it. It's to help her feel safe enough to tell you the difference. Is this fear or truth? And allowing your body, allowing her to help you work through figuring that out. This is where somatic work, if you aren't doing it, can really, really help. So I love DVR. So I use the Alexander technique, somatic interweaves, because when that bracing and armoring in our body softens, your intuition doesn't have to scream so loud anymore. You start to recognize what safety and home again in your body really feels like. And it can be a long journey. Like, as I've been through I can absolutely say it's been a long journey, but it's a journey that I would never, ever choose otherwise. It has led me to see things about myself, trust myself, love myself in ways that I never imagined was possible, was accessible, attainable. And so I share these things with you to help you know that it's absolutely possible and attainable. There are so many things that happen to each one of you that you did not choose. And yet it did not take away your power to turn around and choose today. One step, whatever that next right step is, just right now, today, to make that conscious choice to choose to reconnect with you, to choose to see you in a way that you've never seen yourself before. Learning to trust yourself again and trust that intuition is absolutely possible. Okay, I hope this episode helped. I hope, if anything, it gave you hope to keep going, keep trying, keep practicing. I promise the good news is that there is no arrival, and you can take a deep breath and take your time to practice these things. There is no rush. There's no place that you're supposed to be other than where you are right now. As the chooser in your life, you get to create the life right now that you want, because you can. Take care, everybody.